I know. I think to be fair, I think there's a few on the list that I think you'll hopefully really like, because I basically over the last 8 years, I'd say I've become more of a, like, I want my music videos to tell stories rather than just being like flamboyant. There's still room for flamboyancy,
but story is king.
But story is king, and also that story doesn't necessarily have to be played out on screen. The story can be the video and the references and the homage that it pays, and it's almost that becomes the story, is like your relationship with the previous thing that is reminiscent of an era, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
But I think, like, in terms of, like, there's a few in the early. You're going through the list probably, and you're going, who the bloody hell are all of these people?
Maybe.
But I think, like, Jesy Nelson was probably, she was one of the Little Mix girls. I don't know if you heard of Little Mix. So Jesy Nelson then went off and did her own thing. She made a video that got a lot of, I think it did really well in America. I think it got number 2 in the Billboard chart, maybe. But this single, she then took a 2-year break because she got quite a lot of heat for the first video. And basically I met her and I thought she was really lovely, and we decided to go and make this wicked video together.
All right.
This one also, just to let everyone know, it is like quite heavy. So like there's a warning there for a reason, basically.
Yeah, I'll tell you. So, first of all, thank you for the warning, not only yours, but the one on the screen, because generally there was a time when, because we have done at this point, we've done over 2,000 videos on the channel that we have like deep dived into and broken down. And story, in my opinion, 9 times out of 10, story is everything. And to be able to weave those pieces together is huge, right? So there was a time when we started to kind of give a warning on every single thing that could upset people. But the fact of the matter, it comes down to the onus of the person. And what I go by now is, if it's on the beginning of the video, then that is where we kind of let everybody know, hey, just so you know, this is, and for those of you that can't read it, maybe it says this film is based on real life events and includes scenes of a sensitive nature and domestic violence. So viewer discretion is advised. So thank you for that. All right, Coach Cruz. So you got the warning. Put on your belts. Here we go. This is Jesy Nelson with Bad Thing.
Hey, we started at the end. Another second chance to fuck it up again. I know I'm good alone, but you feel just like home. My favorite kind of wrong, familiar as a song. When I'm about to say bye-bye, I forgot what I cried about last time. Only thing I'm seeing clearly is I'm love blind. I would trade common sense for a good time. Oh, it'll never be easy. How the fuck you got me out of feeling needy? If you gave it all, it still wouldn't complete me. I'ma keep on coming back until you leave me. Damn, I done a bad thing. I know you're damaged goods. Is it a bad thing that I wanna treat you good? You're the worst of my habits, and I wouldn't fix it if I could. When I've done a bad thing, I know you're damaged goods. I know what I deserve, but you just say the words, and I won't put me first. Especially at night, simple texting nights, a flame back to my life, but that don't make it right. 'Cause when I'm about to say bye-bye, I forgot what I cried about last time. Only thing I'm seeing clearly is I'm love blind. I would trade common sense for a good time. Oh, it don't ever be easy. How the fuck you got me out of feeling needy? If you gave it all, you still wouldn't complete me. I'ma keep on coming back until you leave me. Damn, I done a bad thing. I know you're damaged goods. Is it a bad thing that I wanna treat you good? You're the worst of my habits, and I wouldn't fix it if I could. I'm out on a bad thing. I know you're damaged good. I won't repeat you, oh, I'll delete you. I promise I'll be better, oh, I swear. This is the good part, but I'll take back my heart. Then act like I don't care, and I do a bad thing, knowing you're damaged goods. Is it a bad thing? I wanna treat you good. You're the worst of my habits, and I wouldn't fix it if I could.
Dude,
I've done a bad thing, and I know I'm damaged goods.
Bro.
Yeah, this one was such a special one. Like, I grew up in quite an abusive household when I was younger, and so like when Jesy kind of played me this song, it really resonated with me. And like she had similar sort of ideas about what the video should be, and it was all quite personal to both myself and Jessica, and we basically like really went to town on it, and we spent 2 days shooting it. We kind of knew we chose the sort of 60s 70s era because I think doing it now there's a romanticized gaze about the 60s and 70s, especially gang culture, whether it's mafia or whether it's sort of the Cray twins here in the UK. Like, that sort of era is so romanticized. Whereas actually, if you kind of did it now and some geezer's wearing big baggy Carhartt trousers and a waterproof jacket, it's not going to look the same. Right. So, or it's not going to feel the same. Whereas, so we chose that really to give it a sort of style, and we knew the storyline would bring the substance. But like this film could have been like 10 minutes long.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
There was a lot in there, and the first sort of cut we did was 7.5 minutes, and I was begging Jesy to make the song longer. But I think it's kind of one of them where these are like, I've always wanted to do a film about mob culture in the UK, and this was kind of my chance to do it, and or at least play in that sandbox. And I think Jesy, sometimes you write these ideas and artists are like, yeah, I can do it, I'll nail it, it's fine. And you're like, will you? And Jesy absolutely smashed it. And like, the guy in it is one of my good friends called Sid, who like, he's amazing, and he's a model and like photographer's assistant, but takes his own amazing photos and all of that. And I was like, dude, will you do this music video? Like, you'd be perfect. And he did it, and it was like, obviously it was like all lovely, but that the second day we purposefully left the sort of fight scene to be the last thing, so that Jesy and Sid had time to like bond and become friends.
Good.
And then it was kind of this like really like hard thing to shoot, I suppose. But like we set that all up on one floor, and basically like we all left that floor. So it was just the cameraman, my first assistant, and then the AC who was pulling focus, who was hid around a corner, and that was it. And it was, we were all kind of watching on little screens up top, and it was mad. And Sid had never really acted before, so doing something of that level was like amazing. And like, he's someone that I'd love to, like, I've kind of got loads of short film scripts that I'm planning to make over the coming year, and like Sid's at the top of the list for kind of all of them, but I can only really use him for one of them.
Gotcha.
but it's kind of like, I think that sits really nicely alongside Zombie in terms of like me as a director. I think like telling stories that hopefully have real heart feeling and people can go, like there's some level of like, I know that feeling in them. And so, yeah, that one was kind of like a really special one for me, I think, because it was just like, I was a bit not, I suppose as a director, you kind of take hits and knocks throughout your career. And I think before this video, I was quite unsure about where I was headed and what I was doing and whether this was really a thing that I should be pursuing. And then I made this and I was just like, you know what? I love this too much to not do it.
Well, let me tell you, it absolutely shows in the art. And so one thing I like to do, and you've probably seen this on at least a couple reaction videos. I know you saw it in Zombie. You definitely saw it in Breakdown. But, it's easy for people to watch something like this and they feel something. And as a director, like that's your job to make them feel things, even if they don't understand why they're feeling it. Right. So what I like to do is kind of translate some of the shots sometimes so that people can understand, like, I want to point out little moments of brilliance that I think you crushed here. Okay.
Let's go.
So, so first of all, the opening shot, you, in the first frame, you lay out the timeline of the video. Spot on. Okay. Now, my interpretation was not necessarily mob culture, but that you chose this time frame because at this point in time, it was very, very clear in terms of like the role of a wife and the role of a husband and what that dynamic was. Like there was a dynamic in the relationship that was like, you do your part, I'll do mine, and we're both going to be the best of each other's world. And there was like, and you said it yourself, there's a romanticism of that time. And this right here is so perfectly put because he's sitting in the throne and then you see the glass as that minor little subject. And she's there almost in his fold as he's going to protect her. So immediately, like, okay, I see what you're putting down. Perfect start.
I love it because you dissect videos. This is why I think we're here doing this, is that you dissect videos exactly how I imagine someone would dissect it. Whereas what I've realized is actually not many people do dissect videos like this. But it was, I remember when I watched the Zombie reaction, I was like, wow, like you are saying everything that I wanted someone to say.
Nice.
So like, I'm very grateful for it, basically.
Awesome. Well, I like to talk, so if you like to listen.
Yeah, go on.
All right. So, and this point right here, we get, let's see, where is it? We get the look from her at the bar, okay? Where she looks, she's in focus. Over the shoulder, we get the look to her that you see the flirting has begun. But this shot right here, we're not even a minute in, and I wanted to pause it and tell you were brilliant because this is when I knew that you were going to start to earn the currency of the story, and then when it hit and you spent it, it was going to be brutal. So the fact that you went back in the timeline to show how they fell in love and what brought them together instead of just like, oh, he's an asshole because he does this. And no, it's not that simple. Like you have to understand what keeps people together through these. It's not as easy as like, well, you just have to leave him. It's never that easy. So the fact that you told the story this way is brilliant because you put us as the viewer in the position of understanding why they fell in love in the first place.
Well, and also there's a lot of, like he's not a bad human being. So, but he has his flaws. And so we have loads of scenes which will never make the light of day, but are showing that he does love her and that he does want to make it work. Yep. But I think it's the thing predominantly with men, especially now that, or like sort of my generation and the younger generation is kind of like, there's a bombardment of like, do I love her? can I get better? And that's because of Instagram and the sort of readily available world that's at our fingertips. And back then, the idea was that he was kind of this like mobster that was bigger than life. And it's the subtleties, which maybe you're about to dig into, but it's like out of frame, it's people's hands coming in and saying hello to him. And you know that he's someone important. And this is kind of their first date, if you will. He holds the chair out for her. Like, he's not a bad human. He's a gentleman, but he has his bad sides. And I think it was important for us to show the love story and then the decline, but then also, I suppose, him coming back. And that was something that we really wanted to put in because in terms of domestic abuse relationships, currently, modern day, I think it's something like absurd. Like only 16% of the women leave, or 16% of abused people leave domestic violence relationships. And so it was really important for us to show him going back because that's the reality. And I think a lot of people think like, oh, he's beaten you up, leave. But it's never that easy. And we showed this video to Women's Aid, who then really wanted to support and use the video to sort of, because they really believed that this video was such a delicate and true representation of that. And that was something that was amazing for me because it was like, you've made something that is bigger than just, again, a 3-minute music video.
Entertainment, right?
And like, the most amazing thing about this, actually, which I've never really said, but me and Jesy went for lunch about a week after the video came out. And we met in Selfridges, in the little restaurant in Selfridges in London. And we were walking out of the cafe or the restaurant. And this woman, probably in her 50s, stopped us. And she thanked us for making the video.
Wow.
And she was like, I watched it and I felt so much. And I just wanted to thank you for making such an important piece of cinema. And I was like, wow, that's amazing, because that's directly who we are wanting this video to hit, I suppose. And so it's moments like that where you really, similar again with Zombie, it's like all the nurses and the sort of outpouring of nurses, and it's like, wow, like it's great that those people feel seen, because often in music videos they're not. So there was quite a lot in this, and like, you know, even this shot's one of my favorite shots, and it looks so simple, but like like even just like the diffusion that's put in the light above them and the way the light falls off the green mat on the left, and you kind of get this weird green tone through the hallway, which kind of makes it feel a bit ominous. And it's kind of those things that I just, like, Courtney, my DP, like absolutely smashed this. I think we had 43 shots over 2 days, which is, you know, when you're not gorilla and a kind of like throwing a camera, it's quite hard to mobilize a group of 40 to 50 to 60 people across styling, lighting, camera, like everything. It's a lot. So it's but we had, you know, like the styling, like the art department, like everything in this video, like you never feel like it was shot today. And that's what's so amazing about it. Yeah. And also the maddest thing about it is we actually, this location, the pub location, the ballroom, and the snooker room is all one location.
Wow.
And so we had all these rooms that we just moved around, and we basically like spent a whole day it's called the Peckham Liberal Club. And they have all these mad rooms where and this is just the hallway that joins them all, but it all just looked amazing. So it was super cool. We actually had one shot, so this shot here, that shot, we had an alt version of it. And I was so in love with that shot, and Jesy just didn't want it in.
Oh, man.
And basically it was the jazz singer on the stage was singing the song. And so we started on a close-up of the jazz singer as she started that line, and we then wrapped through the crowd dancing and then wrapped around Jesy and Sid in the middle of the room. And and Jesy she just didn't like the idea of someone else singing her song.
Okay, gotcha.
Which is fair enough. But anyway, it's definitely up there with one of my favorites, but often overlooked because I don't think many people really heard the song either.
That's
but
crazy.
It sounds like a Bond song to me.
Oh,
like,
totally.
This could be a James Bond song.
Totally. Oh, dude, this shot is spectacular. The color palette of this, the composition of this, that's so perfectly done. Look how vibrant that whole thing is.
So we actually had to change the cooker color for this shot. The cooker was red. And so we basically, the whole of the top of it is card. So the top of the oven is card. And then basically all of this is like a vinyl that we put over the oven that just peels off. But but it was important to me that it was a pastel yellow, not a red. So
man, I'm so glad you specified that, because I was like, what is a cooker? I still went, wow, cool. Oven, got it. Okay, cool.
Oh, oven, yeah. But yeah, it was, this one all lived and died by the small details of the video. So like, and then the sort of red bathroom is such like I don't know, it felt very like, I don't know why, but the references were all sort of like French cinema from the late 70s, which kind of, they had all these kind of seedy scenes that were like only lit by a red light. And I really wanted to do that. So we did it. And I think it worked perfectly for the sort of tone of it.
Totally.
But it's also just like the small things, like the way our lovely female here, she kind of like pushes him against the wall, and it's like the change of power. If you compare this shot where she pushes him against the wall to the first shot of the film where Jesy sat between his legs, and it's kind of like is it exciting for him to be dominated rather than the other way around?
Right.
And there's all these like really subtle things in it that make it a lot heavier if you look deeper. But actually, if you only look at it as a video, you go, oh, this looks nice. But actually, if you dig into it, there's loads in there. And so I think it's a really special video.
Rightfully so.
And honestly, I love it.
So as far as like, when we got to the end here and we got to the point where Sid, you said Sid, right? So Sid comes back to join Jesy. This is the point that made me go, oh, and that was a dump truck hitting me. But it was because, like, to hear you say at the end of it, like, well, Sid's not a bad guy. He has some bad decisions. He has some bad choices. In retrospect, this scene here is what drove me as the viewer a little bit further down the line of Sid is a bad guy. Like, he doesn't care about his wife. He's a man of power. And that's probably part of it. But this scene here is what drove me back to when this part happens at the end and Sid comes back in. It was more of a manipulation tool. And people understanding like, no, this is the part you don't see. This is what keeps people around. So when he walks back in and holds her and she sits there, dude, hot gosh, brutal.
Yeah, brutal, yeah. Oh. And that, I suppose, again, it's kind of that thing where normally the film ends when he walks out, right? And so it was important for us to have that end scene. And also Jesy played it so well because she wraps her arm around him.
Bingo.
Yeah, and it's those subtle things that just happen that you're like, yeah, that's it.
Yeah, because she's not just taking the hug; she's actually embracing him back. So it's reciprocal.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a hard one to watch, but I think it's really important, and also like I think will stand up against all of my work for a long, long time because of its emotional importance. And like for my mum, who watched it, she really felt it.
Mm-hmm.
And really, like, I made that for my mum. Do you know what I mean? So it's like she felt it, and that was more important to me than kind of anything else, really.
Totally. Yep. Being able to be a voice for people that can't necessarily articulate their own stories or whatever.
Yeah.
That's a power that you have. That's great. And the detail in which you went to this point here, like you mentioned the contrast between the woman in the bathroom pushing Sid against the wall to the chair shot in the beginning. But I thought the parallel was her pushing Sid against the wall, but then to this shot where the power circles, right? But what I thought was brilliant with this end was we end up going through this dynamic with them at the level of, like, let's say Sid's level, okay? But once she goes down, it's like we're looking down at her like Sid would. But when you cross that barrier to go down to her level and we cover over the broken glass, dude, there's so much symbolism into this shot. Like the broken glass, the chair on over, and now we're at her level and he's this towering force that comes in. And there, I can't speak for chat, but there's this moment where when he enters this shot, I thought he's coming back for more. But it's long enough that it hurts. Like, it's like, oh, you tricked me. And then it's the real deal. Bro, that's brilliant.
It's, yeah. And also just like even the Dutch angle, like I won't point it out too hard because it's the only thing that really annoys me about this video. But the in the bottom left of screen, there's a modern day plug. And you can actually see that it's plugged into. So if you go when they sit down and we wrap round, there's a like a lighting Teams plug on it.
The smart plug.
Yeah, the smart, like just there in the bottom corner, right there. And it's like it really annoys me. And I was begging my production company to try and paint it out, but no one can see it. It is a white plug, but it's just like, when you know it's there, it's incredibly painful.
Well, I think this is the perfect time for your first. Damn it, Charlie.
Damn it, Charlie.
Dude,
exactly. Yeah. Well, you know, you got to be honest about your mistakes, right?
For sure. But you know what's funny is like when I have to assume, because this is what I go through. It doesn't matter how much time goes by. Like if I look at a video, I don't remember what the shot is. I remember what I was missing or what I wanted to do. There's always these different pieces that are attached to every little piece of art. You feel the same way? I mean, obviously.
Absolutely. Yeah. And even with, you know, with every video, you notice the small things that you could have done better. It's a nightmare.
Bro, what a great video. God, that's fantastic.